In the previous videos, we explored what policies, laws, and regulations are and why societies need them. Now, let's look at how these rules actually affect everyday life, with something as common as single-use plastics. What are single-use plastics? Single-use plastics include a wide range of plastic products that are made for one-time use. Once used, they are thrown away. Things like drinking straws, plastic cups, cigarette filters, plastic bags, balloons, and food packaging. Globally, this throwaway culture produces enormous amounts of this waste. In fact, in 2021 alone, the world generated roughly 139 million metric tons of single-use plastic waste. Even more concerning, the 10 most common types of single-use plastics, along with discarded fishing gear, make up around 70% of all marine litter found on European beaches. This growing environmental problem pushed governments to take action. First comes the policy. The EU introduced the Single-Use Plastics Directive, which establishes an overall approach for how these plastics should be produced, used, and managed as waste. Next comes the law. Governments in EU member states must pass legislation that matches with this directive. These laws can make certain single-use plastics illegal to produce or sell, or they may require sustainable management of plastic waste. Finally, there are regulations. The rules specify what different actors must do. Manufacturers may need to produce alternatives. Businesses may need to stop offering certain products, and consumers are encouraged to reduce their use of single-use plastics. The directive applies to many everyday items. These include cotton bud sticks, plastic cutlery, plates, straws, and stirrers. It also covers balloons and balloon sticks, food containers, beverage cups and containers, cigarette butts, plastic bags, packaging wrappers, wet wipes, and certain sanitary products. By targeting the most common items found in marine litter, policymakers aim to reduce the environmental impact significantly. When policies, laws, and regulations are introduced, they often influence three important aspects of daily life. First, what is available. Second, whether something is affordable. And third, whether access to it is fair. Let's see how this works in practice. Availability. One way to address the problem of single-use plastic waste is by making these items less available. In the EU, bans on certain products mean that manufacturers must develop alternatives. These might include packaging made from paper, metal, or natural materials. Restaurants and shops must also adapt by offering these alternatives instead of plastic items. Over time, as single-use plastics disappear from shelves, people naturally stop using and discarding them. Affordability. Change often comes with a cost. Developing new materials or redesigning packaging can be expensive for manufacturers. If producers or restaurants must pay more for sustainable packaging, those costs can eventually appear in the price consumers pay. To address this challenge, governments often use what are sometimes called carrots and sticks. Subsidies, the carrots, may help manufacturers invest in new technologies and materials. Taxes or penalties, the sticks, may be applied to products that continue to rely on single-use plastics. Together, these tools encourage the shift toward more sustainable alternatives. Another important consideration is fairness. Policies, laws, and regulations should ensure that alternatives are used everywhere, so that all communities can participate in the transition. When rules are applied consistently, everyone benefits from cleaner environments and improved public health. This helps make the transition both inclusive and equitable. Why understanding PL&R matters. When people understand how policies and regulations work, including the actors and processes behind them, they can participate in shaping change. They can ask important questions, challenge practices that no longer make sense, and speak up when systems are unfair or unjust. So, while policy, law, and regulation may seem abstract at first, their effects are very real. They influence what products we use, what choices are available to us, and how societies respond to major challenges like plastic pollution. Understanding these systems doesn't just explain how change happens. It also empowers citizens to help drive that change.